morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what part of the world you're watching from. Today is, let's check the date. Today is Friday, August 23rd, 2024, and we are here for it. We are here for day 8 of the Boss Baby trial of Robert Tellis from Las Vegas. And he's still on the stand, and we're a little bit behind, which is great because you can fast forward a bit through breaks. And if you were with me a few minutes ago, we just went over the decision on the Karen Reed trial to dismiss. Then, of course, Judge Cannoni dropped it on a Friday and decided denied. Went over it at length for about 2 hours just before the stream. So if you hadn't had a chance to watch it, go back and watch it. And here we go. We are going into court. We are going into Clark County. We're going to see what happens with Tellis today. He's going to be allowed to continue to testify in narrative fashion. We're here for it because yesterday, if you guys were not here yesterday, we had so much fun in the chat. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. Oh, yay, I made it past the devil number. I was at 66.6 thousand subscribers, and everybody was on a trying to help me get to 66.7, so it wouldn't be on 66.6. That's great. I haven't even looked yet today. I've been so busy because, of course, the Karen Reed decision dropped first thing this morning. Of course, we're here for it because where else would we be when that decision dropped but here for it and you and us together, just like we are here today, right now, as such, back with trial on Rob Tellis. And here we go.
You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give.
And the record, face Clark from his right.
What did we miss? So they're recalling. I know some of you have probably are ahead, and you're so collaborative here. So are they recalling a witness? Oh, wait, here we go. Here's the judge. Here's our favorite judge.
8th Judicial District Court, Department 12 is now in session. Honorable Michelle Leavitt presiding. Come to order and be seated, please.
Does the state stipulate to the presence of the panel? Mr. Draskovich?
Yes, Your Honor.
And it's my understanding that the parties are going to call witness out of order.
That is correct, due to travel accommodations.
Okay, Mr. Hamner?
State calls Detective Cliff Mock. Give me 1 second.
Okay, they're recalling Mogg again out of order because maybe he was only available to testify now instead of putting Boss Baby back up on the stand. But again, that gives Boss Baby a bit more time to reformulate his testimony. Why does this not want to go full screen for me right now? I don't know. I don't like that black bar at the top, but whatever. So you may recall Detective Mogg is the retired detective who they now call Mr. Mogg. When they called him in, they said Detective Mogg.
Name for the record.
Clifford, Clifford. Last name is Mogg.
Well, that didn't help me.
The testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
You may be seated. Please state and spell your first and last name for the record.
Clifford, Clifford. Last name is Mogg, Mogg.
Thank you. Sir, I want to turn your attention to September 7th, 2022, probably about 9 o'clock in the morning. Do you remember where you were around that time?
I was at Mr. Tejas' house preparing to execute a search warrant at that location.
Did you have an opportunity to interact with Mr. Tellis' wife, May Ishmael?
I know her as Mary Anaya de Tejas.
Okay. On that day, do you end up taking a couple of photographs on that day?
I did.
Okay, what did you take a picture of?
So during the interview with Mary, I learned some information that I felt would be important to the investigation. namely a
Well,
text.
I don't want to get into the substance. Just did you take any photographs?
I had crime scene investigators take a photo.
Okay. I want to show you what's been already admitted. States 379 through 387. Are these those photographs that you had taken or directed to have taken?
They are.
Okay. Publishing 379. This is the first in that series of photographs, is that correct?
That's correct.
I have no further questions for this witness.
Yes. Take a moment, Mr. Monk. May I see this?
Sure.
Turning your attention to State's Exhibit 379. You took a series of photographs, correct?
I had a series directed to be taken.
At your direction, a series of photographs were taken.
Correct.
And that would include various text messages that were alleged to have occurred between this phone and another phone, that phone belonging to Mr. Tellis.
Yes.
These were addressed yesterday through the course of Mr. Tellis. And it's funny, you have referred to him as Tejas. I've spoken to him as Tellis, but it's Tejas apparently as well, but the defendant in this case.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm a little bit confused here because he was just questioned by the prosecution. So is this the rebuttal witness that they could only get it to come in today? Because did the defense rest? What did I miss? His lawyer is still lawyering, yep. I'm assuming this is a rebuttal witness that they're calling out of order because he was first questioned by the prosecution, Hamner. So here we go. This goes back to yesterday about the deleted message on Tellis's wife's, the deleted message from Tellis's phone that was on his wife's iPhone that said, "Where are you?"
And there is a line of questioning as to whether or not the communication between these two, when I say this is a phone, I mean, this is an Apple Watch, correct?
That's correct.
And that there was a text message or an SMS message deleted, correct? Are you aware of that?
Deleted
On the
from.
part of Mr. Tellis's
I'm
phone.
gonna object that misstates the testimony, or at least the question posed.
You're asking if he did?
If he's aware of it, yes.
Okay, you can answer.
I was not privy to going through the download of Mr. Tellis's phone. I had heard that there was a text message deleted, but I had never seen it.
Heard from
Okay.
who?
So what we have here is basically whenever you have SMS messaging, text messaging, it's generally how that's referred to. Obviously, you have a phone or an electronic device that receives it. Let's say Mr. Tellis's phone, and then the phone that it's sent from, or the device that it's sent from, which is presumably this Apple wristwatch, correct?
That's correct.
Did you ever take the actual physical phone from Mr. Tellis and review whether or not these images actually appeared on his phone?
I did not do that. That was not part of the investigation that I was involved in.
So then we're confined to drawing a conclusion at this point in time that when you see a certain message on this device, the Apple wristwatch device, but then it doesn't appear on an extraction, and then an argument is made, well, it was deleted on his side. We're basically comparing the actual device, the Apple Watch, versus an extraction, correct?
Yes.
You familiar with celluloid extractions?
I am familiar with Celebrite extractions, but that is not in my area of expertise.
Was there ever a discussion on your part concerning a timeline extraction concerning Mr. Tellis's phone?
I know what a timeline extraction is in Celebrite and how to use them. But again, I didn't conduct the download of Mr. Tellis's phone, nor did I review the contents of the download.
If I were to show you from what's been provided from the state, the timeline extraction concerning Mr. Tellis's phone, would you recognize it?
I could try to look at it.
Boss Baby Daddy is a new member. Yay!
Let me approach the clerk and have these.
Okay, if you're just joining, they're taking a witness out of order. This is a rebuttal witness. The defense is not yet rested. You may recall retired Detective Clifford Mogg testified earlier in the trial on the prosecution's case in chief. He's now being brought back as a rebuttal witness for the prosecution to talk about the deleted text message from Tellis's phone that we learned about yesterday.
Exhibit L3. And if I represent to you that this is the timeline extraction taken from Mr. Tellis's phone, would you have any reason to disagree with me?
No.
I'd move it this time for admission of defense exhibit T3.
No.
No, it's L3.
L3, I'm sorry. Permission to publish. I'm going to approach the witness. Is there a light here that?
Remember they gave him a flashlight in the Karen Reed case?
There we go, that's better. Here we have Celebrite, it's the extraction report. To your knowledge, this extraction report was done by Mr. Is it Hesefetch? Am I killing his last name?
Who?
We heard from
He's
him
like, who?
Oh,
last week.
Detective Hovanek.
Havanek, I'm just pronunciation, Tellis, Tejas, Havanek. This, you would agree with me, this timeline extraction, this is a more in-depth extraction. This is, obviously you can access through various portals, information is contained within the cell phone, correct?
Again, that's out of my field of expertise. I'm familiar with the Celebrite extraction reports, and that's about the extent of it.
Here we have this column, deleted column. You see that?
Correct.
And we have a deleted column concerning a much earlier timestamp of 4/14/2020. I told you that has nothing to do with this case, fair to say.
Correct.
And then we have this, and it says deleted. And then here we have these instant messages incoming, and we have times. 9/02/2022, 10:36:02, correct?
That's correct.
And on the right column, unlike the first one where we see deleted, the entry on this Celebrite extraction does not contain the term deleted. Fair to say?
It doesn't contain the term yes.
And again, to your knowledge, and actually, yes, obviously we had you taking photographs of this electronic device, which was presumably on his wife's wrist, fair to say?
It was.
But we don't have any photographs to be provided for you or the foundation laid concerning the photographs taken of Mr. Tellis's electronic device, his cell phone, correct?
I didn't have access to his cell phone, nor did I do the download extraction of his cell phone, and it's beyond my area of expertise to testify as to how the downloads are conducted, what would be deleted, how you would see it.
You're aware that a cell phone obviously was seized, and obviously it was analyzed by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department.
I'm aware of that.
And finally, it's fair to say that your primary responsibilities in this investigation concerned surveillance videos, ring cam videos, security videos, correct?
That was not my only primary job. That was one of them. I also interviewed Ms. Tellus, and I assisted in the execution of the search warrant at his house.
He interviewed the wife.
Did the Tellus home have a ring camera?
It did.
And did you collect or extract any information, any data that was on the ring camera?
I did not. I know our digital forensics detectives were at the execution of the search warrant. They would have done all of that work. That wouldn't have been anything that I would have been involved in.
Obviously, you would agree with me that the ring camera at the suspect's home would be significant to the investigation in this case, based upon your training, experience, your knowledge.
It would, but sometimes it captures things. Sometimes it doesn't. Depends how long it is. It overwrites. It depends whether you have the service as to whether or not things are stored on the cloud, how long they're stored. So there's a lot of variables that go into a ring camera.
Thank you. I have no.
Weren't the ring cameras installed after the murder? Little Moccasins, I love that when people change their name to the trial. That's the best name so far today. You
Just
say
one question.
things.
There were some questions about the ring camera. Do you know when that camera, do you remember when those surveillance cameras were put up?
I believe Ms. Tellus told me that the camera on the front of the garage was put up or purchased somewhere around September 5th. But other than that, I don't know when the ring camera was put up.
Murder was September 2nd.
Just so we're clear, we're not talking about the surveillance cameras, up above the garage. I'm talking about the ring camera. The ring cameras that a lot of people have that are at the front of the door.
That's what I was speaking of.
Okay, front of the door then, by.
Just so that we're clear, the surveillance cameras in the driveway could also be ring cameras. So a ring camera is not just your doorbell camera. They make other cameras too. So
The handle where you go in, you're talking about that camera? You didn't.
That's the camera I was referring to when I answered your question, Mr. Draskovich.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you very much for your, do you have another?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much for your testimony here today. You may step down and you are excused. Thank you very much for coming back today.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Mr. Tellis, you can retake the stand.
Can we have just a moment?
Okay, that's right. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going to take a recess.
Oh,
Recess,
again.
Not to discuss or communicate with anyone, including.
they're letting the jury leave while he walks up to the stand. Why? Is it the shackle thing? People have said he's not in shackles. We have to watch this carefully.
Including your fellow jurors in any way regarding the case or its merits, either by voice, phone, email, text, internet, or other means of communication or social media, read, watch, or listen to any news or media accounts or commentary about the case, do any research, consult dictionaries, the internet, or reference materials, do any investigation, test a theory, recreate any aspect of the case, or in any other way investigate or learn about the case on your own, or form or express any opinion regarding the case until it's finally submitted to you, and we'll be in recess.
Thank you. All right, next you.
Right. He's not in shackles, Kristen, right? So what is the deal? Why are they not letting him walk in front of the jury? This is so not common. Uncommon. It's a long recess. All right.
Okay, Mr. Tejas can be, go back to the witness stand.
The legs aren't shackled. He's wearing long pants. Any ankle monitor would be underneath his pants. It's not prejudicial. see what you did there, Margaret.
In the defense?
Yes.
Okay, would you please raise your right hand so you can be sworn by the clerk?
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated.
So I thought, Sarah, but
Please state and spell your first and last name for the record.
big part of the case.
Robert Tejas. First name is Robert, Robert. Last name Telles, also pronounced Tellis.
Oh, now he's going to allow the other pronunciation because when he got up the first time, he pronounced it Tejas. Okay.
So, good morning. I want to go over some of the items that were discussed during my cross-examination by Mr. Hamner. So I'll start. I'm just going to go, point by point. So it sounds like I'm jumping around. I'm just hitting various things. So I want to talk about Zach Schilling first and why he was mad at me. But in order to do that, I've got to talk about the way that probate sales were done in my office at the time I was in leadership. So what we did was we went from...
We're going to learn why he thinks that Zach Schilling was mad at him. Okay.
Before I got there, from one realtor to a number of realtors. The prior public administrator, for some reason, had this relationship with this realtor, and he wanted to just have that guy do all the homes. There were a couple of problems with that. The first one was that oftentimes he couldn't handle the volume of renovations. And so oftentimes a lot of these homes would sit for months. Once in a while, they'd be in danger of foreclosure. But even if they weren't in danger of foreclosure, one of the issues that would occur was that these homes still had oftentimes mortgages going, right? So if we weren't turning those homes around in 6 months, 9 months, a year, all that time, the mortgage was taking a chunk out of the equity. So I wanted to make sure that we were turning these things around faster so more money would be in the hands of the family. I didn't think that, having a sole vendor who would get to it when he got to it was of benefit to the families. The other thing was that, of course, Clark County has this policy of trying to support as many small businesses as they can. And so I was trying to also mirror that too by opening this up. I certainly didn't like the idea of having, one vendor for anything. So what was important though for these vendors was that they had access to capital. That's why I didn't have a larger pool as of yet. I had probably any given time, maybe 5 or 6, just depended. But they had to have access to capital so that they could perform the renovations on the home. And the reason for that was that I wanted to make sure that we gave the families as much money as possible. When you sell a home as is, when it's in disrepair, often it has to be sold for less. Right? And that gives flippers an opportunity to get the house, flip it, and then take the proceeds that would have gone to the family. Now, there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. I just wanted to put that money in the hands of the family instead. And in order to do that, we had this policy where, again, if you want our business, you had to go ahead and have the money to do the renovations on that house. You had to make it move-in ready. So any family could buy it and move right in. They wouldn't have to wait around for anybody else to do those renovations for them.
Interesting. Judy says, I would think they don't want to take a chance of him lunging towards the jury. I wonder if this is a new procedure in Clark County Court, because remember that defendant who leapt over the bench at the judge? That was in the same courthouse. So I'm wondering if this is the new procedure for the defendant in every single criminal trial. Now I'm curious, or even criminal trial, because he's taking the stand.
And like I said, in the process, the families themselves got all the profit that might have gone to a flipper.
That's a great name.
Because of the capital demands of having to do this, 2 of our vendors had more properties than the others. One of them was Brian Horner, and the other was Bob McMaster. Now, as part of Bob McMaster's team, he had Zach Schilling. Bob was the capital man. He was very successful in his prior business. He was, I don't know the extent of his finances, but he didn't need to do the work. He was doing it really for the sake of keeping busy in retirement. But he was the money man, so he was the vendor, right? And Zach was the listing agent. I don't want to minimize what he did, but at the end of the day, those listings were going to that team because of Bob McMaster's capital. And in return for any of our vendors doing this work, instead of getting a 3% commission, they would get a 3.5% commission. And I got approval from the probate commissioner to pay our selling vendor 3.5% while still giving the buyer's agent 3%. So the total commission was 6.5%. And that was pretty much from the get-go during my administration. So at a certain point, for whatever reason, and again, both Brian and Bob were getting a good share of houses. And at some point, Zach decides that he is going to move his license from the broker where both he and Bob have hung their licenses. And he does it without telling Bob that he's going to do it. When Bob goes to move his license as well, the broker says, you cannot hang your license here unless you're going to have deals. Now, Bob enjoyed the renovation side, but obviously he still wanted to make a commission split.
Don't tell us what Bob enjoyed. Again, this is getting into his opinions. All right? I don't think Bob has testified. So hopefully there'll be an objection here.
For the work that he did. So he was not okay with not being able to hang his license because you have to have, from what I understand, an active license hung somewhere in order to take that commission.
Again, from what I understand.
What he ended up doing was finding another real estate agent to assist him, to be the listing agent. Zach was very upset at Bob with this. And then it came to the point where when Zach asked me to give him a large number of houses, I couldn't because he didn't have the access to the capital. When I would walk houses with him, he would try to minimize the importance of doing this renovation or that renovation, trying to just, again, minimize it so that he could try to get as many houses as he could without getting us what we needed to make these homes move-in ready. And so that wasn't acceptable to me. He still got homes, but he didn't get nearly as many homes as he did before. I think that's what upset him. Beyond the fact that for some reason he was still hung up on that Ottawa thing that happened a year and a half before, which I don't know why that was a big deal for him, but he apparently mentioned it in his.
Here's all the reasons Zach hates me and is trying to frame me for this murder too, because he pointed out my knockoff Nikes in court. He shoe shamed me. I was shoe shamed twice, jury. You heard it.
Interview with
little moccasins is the other way they shoe shamed me, when Christopher Hamner said I wore little moccasins, little gray moccasins.
The police that he had that. So, all right. So then I want to move to the supposed electronic evidence that was allegedly found on my phone, or phone image, or what have you. When I was arrested, the police leaked to the media that there was allegedly a shoe found in my house. There was allegedly a hat found in my house.
Oh, no, it was found there.
They allegedly found the DNA.
Well, it was actually found there. It was not allegedly found there. It was found there. You're just saying that you didn't put it there. Let's be clear.
They did not leak that they allegedly found this electronic information on my phone or on some image, despite the fact that they allegedly had it at that point. So I can't explain why that was the case. Now, when it comes to these Google Maps shots.
They didn't leak it? They didn't leak the fact that you had hundreds of pictures of Guerin's house on your phone, only that they found the shoe and the hat in your house? Would you have been happier had they leaked everything else? There's also no proof of any leak.
I did not know Mr. Guerin's address. So whoever plugged that in obviously did know the address. And there was.
You knew his address after you searched on your work computer using that special program you guys have to find out people's registrations of their cars and their addresses. So you had it then. And this is a Michigas.
Was a photo that we were shown that showed a video camera that was right across the way from Mr. Gurman's house.
Video camera?
You know, I do not engage in crime, but if I wanted to do something while not being caught on camera, and I knew there was a camera right across the way, I wouldn't do it.
Or if I did it, I wouldn't do it, but if I did it, I would disguise myself from head to toe. So I would be unrecognizable to that said surveillance camera that I had pictures of on my phone from the neighbor, right?
And which also brings up another point. If I knew there was a camera right across the way, I certainly would find another means of transportation besides using my own vehicle. You know, certainly, you know,
Your wife's vehicle.
I wasn't rich, but I certainly, you know, I did okay enough that I could rent a nondescript car, you know, but I couldn't see myself as the kind of person who would be foolish enough to use my own vehicle to allegedly commit any kind of crime.
DV is okay because, you know, we all saw the body cam footage of me from 2020 when I allegedly, she says, choked my wife and then was hammered on body cam footage. So I may engage in that perhaps, and being blackout drunk, as I admitted during my jailhouse interviews. And also, you know, I was a fat kid and I have ADHD. So, you know, there's that. But I do not engage in crime. But if I did, I would have certainly rented a car because I'm not foolish. Are you buying what he's selling here, folks?
And let's see here.
I'm not foolish.
Again, I don't. There was. I did not know Mr. Gurman's address, so I don't know how anyone could say that I did these searches.
Ding, ding, ding.
And then I didn't know Mr. Gurman's schedule.
That's why you went there to surveil him a couple days
I did
before.
not know Mr. Gurman's schedule to know that he would be home on that day at that particular time. Yet apparently the killer knew. I did not know the layout of Mr. Gurman's home, or what room he would be in, or what, you know, I wouldn't know how to, as I said, lure Mr. Gurman out of his house.
Well, he was killed on the side yard, and he like went in the garage, and his garage was open for a day, and that's why the neighbors called the police because they were worried about him for a wellness check. So what does the layout of his house have to do with it? But maybe they just didn't find that on your computer.
So I didn't commit the murder. I don't know how the murderer knew that. I certainly did not.
Sigh emoji. Feeling it.
So the person who supposedly took these photos on August 15th, it seems knew that Mr. Gurman had a gray Honda from what we heard yesterday. Yet that same person, or allegedly, I decided to research Mr. Gurman's car anyway after the fact, when this person already knew that he had a gray Honda. That doesn't make any sense. And again, like I said, when you saw that the search term was for, again, Mr. Gurman's address to get to that information on the car. And I didn't know Mr. Gurman's address. Now, also, I did not buy a straw hat. I did not buy a construction shirt. I was fully investigated on my finances. I believe that if I had, that you would see evidence of that. When it came to the police search of my home, I was being detained at the police station. Now, I was not handcuffed. I was seemingly, because the fact that I wasn't handcuffed during the entire interrogation it would seem to me that the officers who, Gaddis and Jappy, who had me in that room, did not fear that I was a danger to them. So
just your opinions again. I hope he's called out on his opinions. We're going to speed him up a little because he's talking wicked slow today, and we're a little behind. They didn't see you as a danger to them. They had weapons, counselor, on them, I'm sure. And weren't you in a precinct?
I was stuck in that room until the search was done.
Right, and
My
it was really
wife
cold.
Was sequestered along with my children in a room during the search. She was under supervision by a police officer. And there was no body cam video from the search.
Oh.
I have seen numerous cases where body cam video was used during searches. It
Objection.
wasn't used during the search in my home.
Objection.
Then I want to speak to Detective Jappy's investigation. Again, Comps Realty had nearly 500 sales over the years. And Detective Jappy was investigating me for 5 months of alleged bribery. And again, the investigative file on me was 100 gigabytes for 5 months of alleged bribery, whereas for Compass Realty, over 500 sales around 500 sales for over years was only 3 gigabytes. Again, just a fraction of the information that was obtained on me.
Yeah, it sounds like they have a lot more evidence against you than them. That doesn't help you.
And I guess, and you'll have to excuse me, but I'm going to have to, I guess, speak to that relationship that I had with Roberta.
You talked about it yesterday,
during
too.
COVID, we got in a position where, again, because of the way that staffing worked, we spent a lot of time together and we grew close.
Now he's going to blame COVID. Now he's going to blame COVID for his affair with Roberta. And now, despite the fact that Roberta testified already and was like a shaking leaf on the stand because she didn't want to be there and they were not allowed to ask her about the affair, now he's going to throw her under the bus about the affair. So thanks for that, Lava. Because of COVID. Because of COVID. Remember, everything during that time was because of COVID. Because of COVID. Yeah, we don't stay open late anymore because of COVID. We don't deliver anymore because of COVID. Your kids can't go to school because of COVID. I'll probably get.
And we grew too close, and and obviously we have choices, and we made a big mistake. It's something that we both regret. But the thing is that, if Mr. Gurman had not been killed, you would not be hearing about the fact that it happened, that we actually got into that relationship.
Yeah, you would have, because it was already published by Gehrman. He already published an article on it in May of 2022, 4 months before his murder.
As I mentioned before, was not going to have any. He was never going to get any information about what happened between us. And the county had redacted, or I say omitted, anything that might have been personal in nature. So the notion that this was a motive to kill Mr. Gurman was false. He was not going to have any real material to make a more damaging article than he would have already done. So that's, and again, Roberta is a good person, and she loves her family very much, just as I love my family. We just made a stupid mistake, but that doesn't mean that I killed Mr. Gurman.
No, but it does mean you're dishonest in other ways.
So, and I would never engage in any criminal conduct because I respect the law.
You respect the law.
And I was trying to uphold the law in my position.
Uh-huh.
And certainly I would not commit a murder because I have respect for human life. I don't believe that anybody should have their life cut short at the hands of another person. And so when it came to
I didn't do it because I don't believe in murder.
Realty, I was not a lame duck.
No, you were a lame duck.
You watch that video from the June 29th, 2022 hearing, you'll see that I was not acting like a lame duck. And you'll see that it was after the primary loss. And I still kept fighting.
Yeah, you kept fighting.
And you'll see during that video that I raised very serious concerns. And these are very serious concerns beyond again, the issue with the equity and the personal property.
My mods are
These are
amazing.
other things that, again, if you could watch the video, you'll see how the judge was concerned. And again, I had just gotten the authority to do the things that Detective Jaffe did not do. And frankly, I believe the public should demand an FBI investigation into Compass Realty.
Oh, the
I
FBI.
also
He's
have
now
one
demanding.
other-
He's now demanding the FBI do an investigation into Compass Realty. Really? This is his time to, take the stand and grandstand about how he believes the FBI. Again, tell us you didn't watch the Karen Reed trial without telling us you didn't watch the Karen Reed trial, because now he wants the FBI involved in his case too. Oh, boss baby, you quack me up. Taking it back.
And frankly, I believe the public should demand an FBI investigation. into
Public
Compass
should
Realty.
demand.
I also have one other item related to Compass Realty. Now, Adam Fenn donated to DA Wolfson in March of 2022. And if you'll recall, at the beginning of March of 2022, DA Wolfson had introduced me to Detective Jaffe. Now, when Detective Jaffe informed me of the fact that he had found that there was likely theft here, I also found out that DA Wolfson knew as well. And I found out through my conversations with DA Wolfson. Mr. Horvath, in the topmost envelope, the first 11 pages, I have a copy of Mr. Wolfson's campaign report from the first quarter of 2022. I'd like to ask that I please be allowed to have it marked and published.
Please approach. I think the public should demand that the FBI investigate Compass Realty. That's what he thinks. It's funny when you put him on FF, his facial expressions are funny. Oh, sound is still off. Sidebar, but it's really a front bar because they're in front of the judge, not on the side of the judge like they were in Dedham.
Mr. Hamner is the state by stipulation.
We'll submit it to the court.
Okay,
S3.
S3 will be admitted.
Okay, would you like me to approach you?
Yes, please. Thank you. And so this is an excerpt of Mr. Wolfson's campaign contribution report, the first one of 2022, taken from the Nevada Secretary of State's website by public download. And it shows, and this is the fourth page, which again, you're only going to receive the fourth page of this. It states it's recorded that on March 26, 2022, Adam Fenn of 8782 Big Bluff Avenue, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah, why don't you just
89148,
dox him on TV and give everyone his address? Really?
$5,000 for.
Really? Why don't you just read his address on worldwide TV? That was lame. You could have just redacted his address. You're going to 1.5 times speed for that. I'm going to punish you because I can't turn off the air conditioning.
His campaign. I am not crazy. I am not
Debatable.
trying to avoid responsibility. This entire situation, well, I'll put it this way, that Compass Realty could move so much with money in this day and age in our city is incredible to me.
Really?
I'm innocent. And, I'm not the kind of person who could brutally murder another man, do it with apparent experience and training, and then go to the gym, and then go pick up my children.
It's happened.
I can't imagine being that type of person.
Well,
Thank you, Mr. German, and I'm
dumb knows no bounds, sir. He can't imagine being that kind of person. Pure imagination. Willy Wonka comes to mind. Come with me and you'll see in a world of pure imagination, which is very fitting because somebody said he looks like an angry Oompa Loompa yesterday. Now I can't unsee it.
innocent. Sir? I have concluded.
We're approaching it, and we're moving through admission in case we believe it already.
Oh, he's concluded. That was the end of his speech. It was like a filibuster, Sarah, in shock and horror.
Is that all your regret?
Yes, Your
Okay,
Honor.
thank you very much. Any recross?
Briefly. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
I'm okay. I just really want to cover some topics. So you touched on the public records request that, Gammon wouldn't have heard about any, personal communications between you and Roberta because the records request wouldn't allow it, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And therefore, that's why you wouldn't try to kill him, correct?
It certainly wouldn't be a motive.
Okay. But you would agree with me, you're not friends with Mr. Gammon, correct?
No, sir.
He didn't tell you, sit down with you and tell you how he's writing his stories, correct?
He did not.
He didn't share with you what information he collected, correct?
He did not.
And you're familiar that, journalists have things called sources, right?
Sure.
And they collect information from multiple places, correct?
Sure.
Okay. So all you know is that Mr. Gehrman had made one personal records request to your office, correct?
Correct.
You don't know what other information he had gathered as of August of 2022, correct?
That's correct.
Therefore, this idea that
Yeah, it's a little fast because this attorney, Christopher Hamner, speaks really quickly.
Gehrman wasn't going to be able to write any further article, you don't know that for a fact, isn't that right?
Well, I certainly thought, based on the records request, that he would not.
We don't
Right,
know what you
because
thought.
You were you're claiming you based it on that limited knowledge, but let's be clear. Journalists have multiple sources that they can collect information from, right?
Sure.
And you knew that as of August 8th, he did intend to want to seek information about you and Roberta, correct?
Right.
You had even told your best employee, Nicole, that I have a fear that these articles are going to jeopardize my ability to have employment in the future, correct?
I did.
You were concerned about even being able to work as an attorney in the city. Isn't that right?
I thought that crossed my mind, yes.
Not just crossed your mind, you memorialized it in a private text message to your best employee, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you additionally told her, I wish I had it in front of me. Let me just see if I can recall this. You were worried about the article. Give me, you know what, can I have it pull off an email? I want to get it all.
I'm gonna do it. Christopher Hamner is his name, this
Now
prosecutor.
remember, you told this jury that you claimed you weren't worried when you received the August 8th email from the county that Gehrman was looking into it because you weren't worried because you knew none of the personal stuff was going out, correct?
Yes.
But isn't it true just a couple hours later you're writing Nicole saying the exact opposite?
No.
Okay. You don't know it. We'll let everyone check the notes on that. But isn't it true the message that you send to Nicole post-dates the email you received from the county?
Yes, but I was talking about pre-existing articles
Sure.
and the damage that was done.
That's what you claim.
That's what I claim, yes.
Okay. So
That's what you claim. That's what you claim. Hold on, we're gonna put it on normal speed.
bottom line is, you were so concerned about the articles, you're writing your best employee about it, correct?
I did not reach out to her to do it.
And then 4 days later, there's 130 images mapping out Mr. Kerman's neighborhood, correct?
Not for me, but yes.
And then on the 15th, there's this amateurish surveillance going on, correct?
Objection is characterization. Amateur.
I'm sorry, I'll rephrase. There's the Popeye surveillance happening, correct?
Popeye surveillance.
And I didn't do it, but yes.
Okay, and then just after that, we have, as you fully admitted, there are pictures from your desk of all of Mr. Gehrman's personally identifying information in your phone, correct?
And I don't know that to be the case. Again, it could have been placed there on an image. It
Sure,
wasn't
but you
necessarily on my phone.
fully admitted, like, that's my computer, that's my desk, and you told us that yesterday, right?
It appears, the photo appears to have my desk, yes.
No, you said, that's my desk. You didn't say it appears, you said, that's my desk.
I thought it
Remember?
yesterday, but sure, again,
Thank
same
you.
thing.
And that just happens to be the same month that your expert witness looked into your phone and saw you turned off all your location data.
I object not as to that month. It appeared most of the year
And-
that location was not there. So that
Right, and-
mischaracterizes Mr. Burrow's testimony.
Sure.
Ooh, everyone's
Isn't
talking
there
over
a
each other.
slide from August 1st to August 31st of 2022 talking about location data from your phone?
Mhm.
Yes,
And it was a blank slate, right?
and I will get to that in my redirect.
But no, you gotta get to it now. Isn't it
But-
true?
give
It
me
was a
one
blank
moment, please.
slate?
Can you give me 1 moment, just a second, right? Please.
No, you're gonna get to it now, mofo. You're gonna get to it now. This is normal speed. I know it's crazy loud, it's crazy fast, but it's normal speed. That was fantastic. Remember, he told the jury he's a techie. He's a techie. He knows how to do this stuff. He's very smart. And he's told the jury how smart he is and all about his background. And we listened to his background for a painful 20 minutes. He was a techie. .com bubble and all that. We heard it. Turned off his location data from August 1st to August 31st.
It's a blank slate, right?
And I will get to that in my redirect.
No, you gotta get to it now. Isn't it true?
Give
It was
me
a
one
blank
moment, please.
slate?
Give me one moment, just so I can write, please.
So I can write
Okay,
with
so
my
give me-
grease
give me
pencil.
the question. Okay, hold on just
Isn't
a
it
moment,
tr-
please. Just
Isn't
one
it
moment,
true
please.
that there is a slide produced by your expert that's entitled August 1st through August 31st, 2022, and it literally says no location data. Do you remember that slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that existed, correct?
I don't know that it did, because I didn't take that photo.
No, just your expert did.
Are we talking about the photo or the
His
slide?
expert.
The photos, again,
Was it prepared?
Right, your
Who prepared
expert, your expert introduced it on his direct examination. Do you remember that?
I don't know if you're talking about the slide or the photo, sir. I'm trying to get
I'm
clarification.
talking about the slide.
Okay.
Your expert analyzed your location data for the month of August. Do you remember him talking about that on direct?
I said that earlier, yes.
Do you remember him talking about it on cross?
I don't, but I remember him talking about it.
And you remember seeing the slide, and he showed an image showing that there is not 1 ounce of location data on your phone for the month before Mr. Cameron is killed.
Yeah.
Do you remember him saying that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
That's because I was surveilling Garman's neighborhood,
And then the second point is, so
but not in a rental car.
let's talk about the donation. So Adam Fenn donated $5,000 to Wolfson's campaign, correct?
Yes,
It came from a campaign report in the first quarter, is that correct?
yes,
So that would be the first 3 months of the year, correct?
yes.
So sometime between January to March is this $5,000 donation, correct? That's 2 months prior to the Gehrman articles, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so
And it's also a few weeks after the introduction maybe between me and Wilson and Jappy.
So you say Compass could move so much money in this day and age, it's incredible to me, correct?
Right.
And what we've heard from you is it's a whopping $15,000.
So what I have found in doing my research on Mr. Wolfson's campaign reports is that he's got people who donate to him year over year.
Okay.
So basically it's a subscription for a get out of jail free
Oh.
card.
So now the
A
DA is on it.
subscription. It's a subscription for a get out of jail free card. He just said. Monopoly has entered the chat. It's like an automatic debit for get out of jail free card. This is fantastic.
I'm just telling you what I found when I've researched, and you can look at the Nevada Secretary of State's website to do the research yourself.
Well, I've got you
That's-
here, sir, so I want to ask you, is DA Stephen Wolfson in on the conspiracy to have Jeff
Yeah.
Gehrman murdered? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know about that, but I certainly know he turned a blind eye toward crime.
So answer my question, yes or no?
I don't know.
Okay, so but you can't rule it out, right?
Can you rule it out?
It doesn't matter whether I can rule it out. I'm not the one under oath.
I can't rule it out.
Okay, so you can't rule out Rita. You can't.
You know what liars do? They always answer a question with a question. Can you rule it out? Instead of answering the question.
Can't rule out Wolfson. You can't rule out Cliff Maud. You can't rule out the DNA people. You can't rule out anonymous patrol officers. Am I catching this all right? You can't rule out Adam Fenn, anyone from Compass, right? How about Cyndi Sauerland? Is she part of this too?
I don't know. I can't rule it out.
Okay, so it's all just one big conspiracy, correct?
No, sir. I didn't say that they were all involved. I just said I can't rule out who and who is not involved.
But at the end of the day, you're just the victim in this whole thing. Is that
Yep.
correct?
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
He's the victim. Boss baby, the
Anything
victim.
else, Mr.
He admitted it at least.
Yes. And again, when it comes to these photos and the notion that there was no location information on them, I didn't take the photos. So whether they had location information on them or not, I'm not surprised they don't have any location information on them. So this point that somehow that shows I'm guilty is just, I don't know.
It's crazy.
It still makes no sense to me. And then when it comes,
Doesn't matter if it makes sense to you. It matters if it makes sense to the jury. I mean, we love hearing your opinions because we're rolling on the floor laughing, but it doesn't matter, dude.
again, to Mr. Wolfson, I did do that research into him, and I did find that around the time that Paris Hilton had picked up charges
Paris Hilton.
here in Las Vegas, that
Sustained.
I think he opened the door.
Objection is sustained.
He's bringing Paris Hilton back into it. We discussed this another time when Paris Hilton was brought into this. Apparently she lives in Las Vegas. Are you going to say that Paris Hilton got a get out of jail free card too? Because she donated to the DA. By the way, this DA, Steve Wilson, is he the DA that was in court yesterday that all of you thought was a silver fox? Because I forget that DA's name. Yes, that's hot. That's hot. Just wait, that's hot. Love Paris. We love Paris. I recommended her documentary to you on YouTube. I hope some of you watched it because it's great. Thanks, Tiff.
All right. So I'm sure that someone will be doing the homework on that, but I think that's.
The jury can't do homework.
And so, thank you, Honor. I have nothing further for myself.
Okay, anything else?
I have nothing further for myself. We've been waiting to hear those words for a couple days now.
Based on that, no, thank you.
Okay. Looks like we have a question from a juror.
Yes, jury questions. This is their time to shine. Jury gets to ask questions now. They had to wait until all the direct and him directing himself narratively and the cross and then the redirect narrative and then the recross and then the redirect. And now's the jury's time to shine. I'm here for it. With you. I wonder if they're furiously scribbling on their pads right now. And they don't have grease pencils. He's got to have a grease pencil because, you know, very sadly, he did try to take his own life before his arrest. And I think most prisoners are not given pencils or pens because of the danger of injury or
Number
harm.
20.
Here we go.
We have questions from a juror. Court's exhibit number 20. Were you concerned that your wife would get knowledge of the affair before you get to tell her about it yourself, or did she only find out after Mr. Gehrman's murder took place?
She actually did find out beforehand, you know, and I did, you know, unfortunately, I said I made a mistake. And
Wait, she did find out because wasn't it alleged in Gehrman's May of 2022 article, which was months before his murder?
it is what it is. And so, no, as far as my wife is concerned, and my family is concerned, they did forgive me for what happened.
Oh, it's important he gets that in there. They did forgive me.
Court's exhibit number 21. How tall are you without lifts?
5'6.5".
How tall are you without lifts? 5'6.5". That half really makes a difference. Remember when he testified about his lifts and he took his shoes off and he said, you may notice a height difference now. And then he held up his shoe and explained why he didn't wear fancy shoes to work because he had to put lifts in his shoes because he needed them to feel a little bit more important. Not important. What was the word that he used? I can't remember it right now. He said he was 6'5". And we were like, yeah, no, you're not. You must have had a typo in your response, your oral response, because it only seems fitting that he would have a typo in an oral response. You must be 5'5", but he's given himself 6 foot. 5 foot. 5'6.5".
Any follow-up from do you have anything else you want to say, Mr. Tejas? Any follow-up
I don't believe
based on
so.
those questions?
No.
Okay, Mr. Hamner?
No, you're.
Okay, thank you very much for your testimony here today. And you may step down.
Thank you, Honor.
Are you going to have
Yes.
any further witnesses?
No, we are not.
Okay, so the defense rests.
Defense rests.
Okay, does the state have any further witnesses in rebuttal?
Okay, we'll call Matt Leavitt.
Oh, they're going to have a rebuttal witness. Oh, watch him walk. This time he left in front of the jury. Sorry, got to rewind. REW. We're going to REW. Here we go.
No, we are not.
Okay, so the defense rests.
That is correct, sir.
Okay, does the state have any further witnesses in rebuttal?
So that time he was allowed to walk in front of the jury, escorted by a court officer. So again, don't know.
Okay, we'll call Matt Leavitt. Matt Leavitt.
Judge Leavitt, I'm so sorry we didn't see more of you or hear more from
Only
you.
swear the testimony you're about to give in this
Love you.
action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
You may be seated. Please state and spell your first and last name for the record.
First name Matthew, Matthew. Last name Hovanes, Hovanec.
He's already testified, so he's being called back. You know how I know? Because I already had a banner ready.
And before Mr. Hamner begins, we do have a quick question for Your Honor, just briefly.
Okay. I'm sure this is going to go to Mrs. T's Apple Watch data.
I want to talk about first, just briefly about an extraction report that you had an opportunity to review regarding a timeline publishing 374. Do you see that here?
I do.
This is the one that kind of lays out text messages and phone calls that came in and out of Mr. Tellis' phone. Do you recall that?
I do.
You see how over here on the right we have a deleted column?
I do.
Are there instances where Celebrite, its programming, can capture and notate when, for example, something is deleted? Is that right?
There are.
And what would show up in that column if the program was actually able to collect or catch that deleted data?
Usually there's a red X if it captures the deleted data.
Sometimes it may also say like a red yes or something like that.
Something along those lines.
Okay. In your experience, does Celebrite capture every single time someone deletes data off their phone?
No.
Okay.
Wow. You know what that means? Jen McCabe could have deleted some stuff that we don't even know about. There could be more deletions.
And so, and do you have an idea as to why that is? Like, why does it sometimes catch it, but sometimes it doesn't?
All goes back to the inner workings of cell phones and how they store data.
Okay. Have you ever heard of the term like marked for deletion?
I have.
What does that mean?
So everything in a cell phone is stored in a database. When you press delete, say if it's an image, a text message, whatever it might be, while you, the user, no longer see that data because you believe you've deleted it, it could still be sitting in that database marked for deletion. So until it's overwritten or actually deleted from that database, it's not technically deleted from the phone.
Okay, and so there may be steps that a user of a phone could maybe take to make sure that it's not just marked, but like truly cleared out of the phone. Would that be fair? Or?
No, the user really doesn't have any access to the database.
So it's just the functioning of the phone,
yes. Correct?
Okay, and just to be clear here, I'm showing what are entries 23, 24, and 25. I'll zoom out just a little bit. So 23, 24, 25 don't have any marks for deletion, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so nothing's been noted there. But you did happen, I can't even remember, did you have a chance to see like the Apple Watch image? Did you have okay, to do a comparison, correct?
Yes.
You can't tell us whether or not definitively this, like, do you know if like it's deleted or not? Do you have an answer, a definitive answer on that?
I do not.
Okay, it's just simply, it's not here, correct?
Correct.
So a possibility is it could be deleted. It possibly, maybe it transfers over. It doesn't make it into the phone.
Correct.
Okay. And just to be clear, did you provide us with some information from Celebrite about deleted data?
I did a screenshot from their website.
Okay, I'm going to show opposing counsel produce any objections to the submission.
Just screenshot, no.
Okay, great. I'm going to publish, can we request, right. It's been marked, I haven't asked. Permission to admit states proposed 411.
No, Your Honor.
There's those 411.
Yes. Sir, why don't you do this, if you can? Why don't you just read out from the header, just read it all for us.
Starting with deleted data?
Yeah.
Deleted data, mobile device forensics. Deleted data may sometimes be recoverable depending on the level of extraction obtained. The encryption type on the device will determine probability of success. Full disk encryption, file-based encryption, no encryption. Deleted data may be available in the following circumstances. It is not actually deleted, just marked for deletion, any extraction type.
Okay. Another topic. Recipes.
Gotta go watch it.
To search through Mr. Tellis's phone to see if there was any evidence of recipes located in the phone?
I was.
Chicken fried rice. Remember, he said he Googled a recipe for chicken fried rice. That's how he got his finger.
Okay. I'm showing opposing counsel what's been marked as states proposed 399, 400, 401. I'm going to show at least those right now to opposing counsel. I should previously show, but I'll see them. All right. Okay. May I approach the witness? I'm going to show you states proposed 399, 400, and
Welcome,
401. Take a look at those and let me know if you recognize what you're looking at.
Yes. Search is conducted.
Thanks. Are these fair and accurate depictions of data that you reviewed and ultimately was extracted out of Mr. Tellis?
Yes.
We're going to ask that states proposed 399, 400, and 401 be admitted.
No objection.
So, in Celebrite, is there like a search box that can globally search everything in a phone?
There is.
I'm actually going to show opposing counsel 398. May I approach? I'm showing with states proposed 398. What are we looking at here?
It's basically the home page from a cell phone extraction on Celebrate.
Okay, is this a fair and accurate depiction
It is.
of that? Okay. We're going to ask the admission of states 398.
No objection.
Additionally, I'd like to approach opposing counsel with states proposed 402 and 403.
I know some of you may be ahead, and I do know that the court, since we're behind, the court is on lunch right now. If anybody knows what time the court says they're coming back from lunch, please let me know, because I need to break this into 2 streams, and I would like to plan accordingly. And you guys are so collaborative and fun and friendly, so I know you'll help me here.
Okay, and this is in relation to searching for fried rice?
Yes,
Okay. Are they fair and accurate depictions of some of the results that you had?
they are.
All right, we're asking for the admission of states 402 and 403.
No objection.
Okay, so I want to start at least with 398. What are we looking at here, just so we can see?
Again, that's the main homepage of when you process something in Celebrite Physical Analyzer.
Okay, so this is kind of like the main home screen of Celebrite, correct?
Yes.
I see that your name is here. Is that right?
Correct?
Okay, and it's kind of giving the breakdown of what type of phone it is that right?
Correct.
Over here in this corner, what is that little box? And it's been cut up. In this
see it.
corner up here, what is that little box?
That's a search bar.
Does that globally search every single category, every inch of that phone if you put in a certain keyword?
It searches all the parse data, yes.
Okay, so I want to first talk about the word recipe. Did you type that word in that global search box?
I did.
Did it produce some types of results?
It did.
Okay. Did one of them involve web history?
I believe it did.
Publishing 399. If we look at entry number 1, how many results were there total?
3.
What's the title of result number 1?
Air fryer French fries recipe, love and lemons.
Okay, so not chicken fried rice.
No.
What's the date that appeared in the phone?
September 1st, 2022 at 6:07 and 51 seconds p.m.
So not later
Before
in
the
the
murder.
week of that first week in September, correct?
No.
Let's look at the second entry. What's the title of that one?
How to make cauliflower rice, Cookie and Kate.
Okay, so not chicken fried rice.
No.
What's the
Cauliflower.
date on that one?
August 29th, 2022, 7:04:52 seconds p.m.
So not a couple of days after Mr. Gehrman was killed. Let's look at the last recipe. What's the title of that one?
French basil pesto recipe.
Okay, and what's the date on that one?
August 11th, 2022, 7:53, 45 seconds PM.
So not a couple of days after Mr. Dameron's murder?
No.
And if we look at that second entry, you described it, it said how to make cauliflower rice, but the word recipe doesn't appear there. Can you look at the second column?
Yes.
What is the website that was used for that?
Is
Read that out.
cookieandkate.com/cauliflower rice recipe.
All right, so the word recipe ends up appearing there, and that's how the Celebrite pulled it, correct?
Yes.
All right. When you did the recipe search, did you also find some instant messages with the word recipe in it?
I did.
Okay. Publishing 401. If we could, please read us the date of when this message is done.
August 24th, 2017, 1:47, 37 seconds PM.
Okay. And in that second sentence or third sentence beginning there, can you just read that out? It's in the second row.
There you can find and post recipes and videos, learn about ingredients and techniques, ask questions, and share your love of cooking and food writing with other community members.
Okay. Publishing 400. How many? This appears to be kind of instant messages derived between someone by name May and the defendant's phone, correct?
Correct.
So let's look at this first entry. What's the date on that one?
October 1st, 2020, 2:06, 36 seconds PM.
And this deals with dog food recipes, is that right?
It appears to be.
Let's look at the second text message. What's the date on this one?
October 1st, 2020, 2:06, 36 seconds PM.
So dog food recipes again?
Yes.
Looking at this date, what's the date on this one?
June 4th, 2021, 2:57, 21 seconds PM.
Okay, so again, we're not even within the same year as the day that Mr. Darman dies, correct?
We are not.
Let alone a couple days afterwards.
Correct.
Cauliflower rice can be used to make fried rice. And some people have pointed out that his daughter's diabetic and she may not be able to eat rice. So this may be, I don't know, maybe something, maybe nothing.
And this was, so that's that date. Okay, let's move on to the fourth one. What's the date on this one?
June 4th, 2021, 2:57, 21 seconds PM.
All right, so when you did a global search for the word recipe, this is all you could come up with out of that phone, or at least that's all that Celebrite came up with. Is that right?
Correct.
Did you also put in the global search box the terms fried rice?
Yes.
Publishing 402. What is the date on this instant message?
March 16th, 2022, 6:57, 34 seconds PM.
Okay, and what does it say in the message?
Can I get a bowl with teriyaki chicken and fried rice and a side of chow mein?
This appears to be potentially some people with the last name, maybe his children and Mr. Tellis.
Yes.
Turning to the second entry. What's the date on this one?
March 16th, 2022, 6:57, 34 seconds PM.
So again, not even remotely close to the month of September. Is that right?
Correct.
Could you please read out what it says?
Can I get a bowl with teriyaki chicken and fried rice and a side of chow mein?
Publishing 403. What is the date on this one?
That'd be March 10th, 2019, 10:08, 44 seconds PM.
Please read out the message.
Fried rice, chow mein spelled incorrectly, lemonade, and teriyaki chicken.
Okay, so this was all that Celebrite could draw up from for fried rice. Is that right?
That's correct.
Additionally, did you also run a search for the term Chinese rice?
We did.
This is focusing very well. Okay. And what happened when you typed that in?
No results.
Okay, so there was nothing that popped up.
Correct.
All right, thank you. No further questions.
Awesome.
Yes, Your Honor, I understand that there will be another detective called after this witness. Could we have him stay for a potential recall?
Sure,
Thank you.
sure. So you don't have questions now, but you
I
want me
do,
to.
actually, there's a few things that we'd like to address right now.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may approach the witness. Show me what's proposed to defense exhibit 3.
Court TV is saying 4 p.m. Eastern, so we'll see.
Could be a property and home exhibit. Have a list or not. We do have a list of electronic devices that were seized as part of this investigation. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
And in addition to this, the Dell Optiplex desktop, at the bottom we have the Dell Optiplex desktop that you basically addressed last week through the course of your testimony. Do you recall that?
I do.
We also have another electronic device, the Samsung tablet in black case, correct?
Correct.
These questions that you were, and then again, here we have Dell laptop, correct?
Correct.
In reference to these questions for recipes and the like, these questions and based upon the Celebrate extraction were based upon searches that may have occurred on the phone that was possessed by Mr. Tellis, correct?
That's correct.
Did you make these same searches on these other electronic devices?
I did not. No,
So you weren't looking for these recipes or anything like this on these other electronic devices that may have contained that information?
I was not.
I agree. I agree. Yuri's math
Approach you
teacher.
with proposed exhibits O. They are.
Side bar, front bar, belly up to the bar.
That's stable to go in there, having to do what we're doing.
Right. I mean, is there any further questions from for this witness other than that?
Before the lunch break, no, Your Honor, in reference to.
Okay. Anything else from this witness? Okay, I'm gonna ask you to step down. You're not excused yet. You're gonna be, called back. But I think the, district attorney just has further instructions for you, and then we'll have to come back and continue with your testimony. Any other witnesses?
We can call, we can call Detective Gallus.
Perfect. Mr. Hamner,
Detective
are
Gallus.
you gonna go? Okay, just ask the detective to stay close by for further.
They're going to call Justine Gaddis back to the stand. I just want to see how long this is because I need to check out of my hotel and move to a different location. And they've already banged on my door once. I'm like, yeah, don't worry. I'll be leaving soon. No worries.
This action shall be the truth, the whole truth.
U.S.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Detective Gaddis, in the course of the investigation into the murder of Mr. Dearman, did you learn how many vehicles Mr. Tejas had in his household?
Yes, there were 3.
And can you tell the members of the jury what those 3 were?
There was the 07 red GMC Yukon Denali. There was a brown, I can't remember the model of it, but it was a BMW SUV and a black Tesla.
Okay, and we've seen pictures, obviously, of the Yukon and of the car stop with the Tesla, and I think there's some search warrant photos of the BMW. In the course of your investigation, did you become, his residence is on Spanish Steps?
Yes, ma'am.
In the course of the investigation, did you learn about a Planet Fitness located on Charleston?
Yes, I did.
And did you ever drive or try to figure out the drive time between those 2 locations?
Yes, I did.
And what is it?
It's about 4 to 6 minutes.
Okay.
Depends on which street you take specifically or if you get caught at the light.
Okay, so if you were leaving Spanish Steps and going to Planet Fitness, you said it would take about 4 to 6 minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
May I approach, Your Honor?
We talked about this
I'm
yesterday.
showing you what's been marked. as states proposed 407 through 410. If you could just look through those and let me know when you're done.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recognize those exhibits as a map of those two locations, Planet Fitness and Spanish Steps, as well as pictures of Mr. Tellis's BMW?
Yes, I do.
State moves to admit 407 through 410.
No objection.
May I publish, Your Honor? I'm putting on the overhead on what's been admitted as states 407.
I already have a late checkout.
Detective, what are
We
you
have a
looking at in that
convention
photo?
coming in.
That is a Google Earth image of the area of town that encompasses 9624 Spanish Steps Lane and the Planet Fitness over there at Charleston and Fort Apache.
Okay, and on the left side, there's a couple different routes you can go. Is that fair?
Yes, ma'am.
When you look at this, can you put the mouse or show the members of the jury the location of Mr. Tellis's house?
That's right there.
Okay. How about that elementary school, Piggott Elementary that we hear about?
It's this structure here.
Okay. And then are you able to move the mouse to the Planet Fitness location?
Yes, that is over here.
Okay. And that street, that main street up towards the top of the photo, that's Charleston.
Correct, ma'am.
Okay. The street that goes in front of that elementary school, do we know what that street's called?
Red Hills.
Okay. I'm putting on the overhead now what's been admitted as states 408. What are we looking at there?
That is the picture of the brown BMW SUV that Mr. Tejas has registered to his family.
And this is 409.
That is the backside view of the same vehicle.
And states 410.
And that is a side profile of the same vehicle.
Okay. Now, the video that we've seen throughout the trial has all been little clips. But for all the video that was collected in this case, was there hours and hours collected from all of these locations?
Yes,
And that was all preserved by yourself and other detectives?
that's correct.
And for the record, Your Honor, all of the long form video is on state's proposed 372. So we would move that into evidence or offer it.
No objection.
Okay. Now, with regard to this BMW, did you review video from Piggott Elementary School at a particular date and time?
Yes, I did.
And can you tell the members of the jury what that was?
So I reviewed it for September 2nd, 2022. Basically at the time that the Denali arrives back on Red Hills Road and then up toward, as it turns towards Mr. Tejas' house. I continued to watch it as well. About approximately 12 minutes later, the vehicle that I believe is the brown BMW comes out of the same area, off the same street, and makes another turn down Red Hills Road as if coming the same direction that the Denali had just arrived from.
And so if I'm understanding you, the Denali comes into the neighborhood
Yes, ma'am.
and then about 10 minutes later or
I thought it was about 12 minutes.
12
but,
minutes
yeah.
later, you see a vehicle that you believe is the BMW go in front of that elementary school in the direction, one of the ways, to Planet Fitness?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the state, Your Honor, would now offer 406, which should be a clip of that.
No objection. Keep over.
And are we seeing the vehicle take a left turn on that Red Hills Drive?
Yes, ma'am.
And the time at the bottom was 12:03.
That's correct.
Thank you very much. I'll pass the witness.
I'll pass the witness. They're so
Yes,
polite.
thank you. We do testimony that the video that we just saw was taken from the entrance of the neighborhood. Where specifically was this video that we just saw taken from?
It was the camera was affixed to the Piggott Elementary School.
Piggott.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it wasn't necessarily the entrance to Mr. Tellis's neighborhood, but I mean, it's a couple streets back, fair to say.
I guess we'd have to look at the map to be specific, but it's
And that was addressed in Mr. Mogg's testimony in the location of Piggott in relation to the neighborhood where Mr. Tellis lives. But I mean, it wasn't right at the entrance. There was a street that one had to drive up and come around and enter, fair to say.
yes, it's a fairly short distance though.
Fairly short distance.
Yeah.
Are you aware, in reference to the neighborhood where Mr. Tellis lives, are there other entrances and exits?
Yes, there's one additional that I know of.
Okay. Showing what's been marked as defense exhibit T3. Okay. Can I present to you that this is a Google map between two different locations? I don't believe there's an objection to the commission.
Is there any objection?
No, Your Honor, sorry.
Okay, T3 is admitted.
This is also a Google map.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where that is. Okay,
You recognize these 2 points of interest?
yes, I do.
I may publish. This, little different subject, but we've got you here, so we're gonna ask you this question. This is a Google map again, timed distances, the driving. We have this point here, the red point, the Clark County Public Administrator Office, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that is where Mr. Tellis was working.
Correct.
We've heard testimony concerning the search. I think it was from you on September 8th, 2022.
Yes,
correct? And this other address on West Vegas Drive, North Jones Boulevard, this is the location that you were able to ascertain from photographs. And you had given testimony that you felt that this was a surveillance point. Remember all the photographs of all
Yes.
the various cars? That's that point, correct?
Yes, sir.
And we have a drive time, there's two, and oftentimes Google Maps, they have different times, but we have 11 minutes and 12 minutes, correct?
Yes, sir.
We have a 4.4 mile distance and a 5.2 mile distance.
Correct.
He could have gotten from the scene of the murder to check into Planet Fitness at the proper time that the witness testified to. That's the bottom line here. I don't think you're going to get out of that, sir.
Of course, indulgence for just one moment.
Happy 70th birthday to Jeff Gehrman in heaven.
No, you're all right. Thank you.
Actually,
That's okay, go ahead.
obviously you were the primary in this case.
Yes, sir.
For the homicide detail. There'd been testimony concerning these various locations where images were captured, security, ring cam footage, correct? By
Correct.
yourself and others.
Yes, sir.
Specifically concerning Mr. Tellis's home. There had been a discussion with Mr. Mogg concerning his security cameras. I think you and I had addressed that last.
I know I saw the images of the cameras up and the cameras not up. And
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. There was a question. There were security cameras up above near the roof line where they were not there on September 1st, but then later, I think Tolliver had testified, but then there were security cameras up above, correct? That had
Yes.
been later installed. And Mr. Tellis had testified concerning that. But let's talk about a ring camera.
Yes, sir.
A ring camera right by the front door. There was a ring camera there, correct?
Yes, there was.
And was the data from that ring camera obtained?
What was available was obtained, yes.
And what was available?
Oh, I'd have to look back in the case file. I don't remember at this point. I knew there wasn't anything at the particular timing that were basically on the second. There wasn't much video that was found to be relevant.
Okay, so is it your testimony that there was no relevance? And I mean, obviously, did you have a chance to review what may have been captured?
Yeah, the ring video I did.
Okay, and specifically on September 2nd, was there any evidence that you're aware that was recovered from the ring camera that was right next to his front door?
I can't remember if there were clips from the second or not. I just remember that whatever was there, I could tell it wasn't relevant. And that's why there wasn't any clips preserved, or they were all preserved, my mistake. But that's why any clips weren't used potentially in that video synopsis that was provided.
And who would have reviewed the evidence that was taken from the ring camera?
I know I did. I'm not sure who, are you referring to Detective Mogg?
Yes, or yourself. I'm asking who would have reviewed the contents of that ring camera?
I did. And I know he had it available to him with the video production. So I could assume one way or the other, but I can't say if he did. I know I did.
Okay, and if he had given testimony when asked that same question, he talked about the security cameras up above that were installed later, but he didn't appear to have any memory of anything that may have been reviewed from that ring camera.
Okay.
All right, and you don't have an independent recollection of what may or may not have been recovered from that ring camera?
I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay, no further questions. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes.
When you say not relevant on the ring camera, what does that mean?
We knew what time, or had estimated the timing of when the red denali would have left, when it would have arrived back. And there was nothing at those timing marks or really in between that time either showing that Mr. Tejas was home or that anybody else was coming and going.
So it wasn't informative as to the whereabouts of Mr. Tejas at any time?
Correct.
Thank you.
And when we talk about any time, we're talking later in the day,
I'm talking on the second.
on the 2nd. So outside of that, you have no memory of anything that may or may not have been captured on that ring camera on September 2nd.
I don't. I'm sorry, sir.
Thank you. No further questions.
Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much for your testimony here today. You may step down and you are excused from your subpoena. Thank you for coming back today. Does the state have any further witnesses waiting?
We do not, Your Honor. I think we may be recalling, or Mr. Draskovich may want to
Okay, all right, so we'll break for lunch.
Thank you.
During this recess, you're admonished not to discuss or communicate with anyone, including your fellow jurors, in any way regarding the case, any news, or bills, doing any investment, or from or expressing. If he comes back, I think that's our last witness of the day, right? We will bring you back in when that witness is here, and we will probably end early for the day. But at this time, you're excused from.
Okay, so they don't know when that witness is coming back. I have just set the afternoon stream for 4:40 p.m. Eastern. When I end this stream, it will send you over to the new stream. So teleport safely. And then we will debrief. KarenReedStandouts.com. That was what we tried to talk about on the Karen Reed stream, but we didn't have the website for that. That's going to be the Labor Day standouts for any of you who want to join. And I think they're nationwide, maybe even worldwide. So that's what Lee said. Speculation boss baby left to stand the way he did when he realized the jury wasn't buying it and made his what a boss feel. Big boy said. Thank you for the super chat. And Kimmy, thank you as always. Tiffany, thank you. AJ Charles, I put these up earlier. Mama She, I'm just a girl in the world. Safe travels. I need to get to my new location. And if it happens earlier and I'm able to set up, I will go on earlier. So teleport over there. You're not going to want to miss a thing because the trial's probably going to wrap today. I don't know if they'll do closings today, but I'm interested to see that. I am not Justine Gaddis, so I will take that down. Be cool, be kind, be classy until I see you, moderators. I love you. Bye. Teleport safely. Let me know that you made it on over to the afternoon. See you soon.